to 5th Boro Tonight. Coming here live from my living room. Still not painted in the background. And I'm going to present to you a little recap of this week's action from week 1 and a little bit of week 2. So, yeah. Alright, first off, we'll talk about myself. Just got out of the doctor. Good news, no torn ligaments. So I'll be back in action within the next 2 to 3 weeks as soon as I can make a fist, which I really can't do right now. But yeah, so I'll be back into it pretty quickly. We're going to recap all the action, talk about some players that have had big weeks within the past 2 weeks. And we're not here to put anyone down. We're here to have a good time. And one thing about missing, this week's action really made me realize that I really want to play, so softball's fun. It's what it's intended to be. People that do all that extracurricular stuff is just stupid. Like, you should really enjoy playing. Like, you play in an atmosphere where it's affordable, and I'm just here to try to provide you with a service for you to have a good time. So with that said, let's get into it. First game, the Rocks versus the Purple Cobras. Justin Serachik had a big day here, had 4 RBIs. They beat the Purple Cobras, who had a bye in week number 2. Going to get things together. They have a good pitching, good defense. They just, they played a team that was really good that week, and they lost. That was pretty much it there. Next up, we had the Sex Panthers, who lost to the Class Acts 12-2. Bobby Russo was pitching really well, had a few strikeouts, a couple of RBIs. Finally, the catcher Cliff, which provided the spark on the offensive end. Sky's the Limit beat the Ciroc boys 9-8. It was a game that went into extra innings, and Mendez actually hit the walk-off home run. We actually took a photo of it. Shout out to all the stat keepers that have been helping me out with everything, and all the photographers. It's making the league go pretty smooth so far. Shout out to all the captains also, organizing everything, making my life a little easier. I know it's hard to collect money from everyone, but what are you going to do? That's that. Next up in the Sunday division, we have the Wingboards taking on the Ball Breakers. The Wingboards lost this game 9-1. It was a game that saw both teams making their debut. 2 totally different styles of teams, but the Ball Breakers were really hitting the ball, ironically enough, and they had a really good game. I don't have the stats in front of me. They're being inputted at a different house, but I remember that, it was close, and then it just got a little out of hand. Next up, we have the Goonies versus the Chirpers. In that game, we have the Player of the Week, Anthony Palumbo, for week number 1. Man had 6 RBIs, 2 home runs, the go-ahead home run, and that put the Chirpers on top of the Goonies, which was a pretty good game. I'm glad I got to see it. And then in the next game, we have, Team Rugged taking on those guys. In that game, I had 5 strikeouts. It was one of the most strikeouts I ever had in a game. And in that game, Rich Collier had a home run and a lot of RBIs. I think 4 it was, if I remember correctly. So yeah, that was the first week of Sunday action. Next up, we had the rivalry between the defending champions, Los Gatos Negros, taking on the Tribe. And there was no love lost between the 2 teams, that's for sure. Especially when things got a little heated, when George Quinn went into the first baseman, and then he ran into Carmine at the catcher's plate, which wasn't a dirty play. He was just, trying to make it into home. The ball was thrown, little bloody nose, etc., etc. Everyone remained friends, which was cool. Game went into extra innings. There was a controversial call by the umpire. Not me. Sorry about that. Yeah, so that was a close game. The Tribe ended up pulling it out 8-7. Sometimes it's calls going your way, sometimes they don't, unfortunately. But, Los Gatos Negros has been down this road before, and even with the go-ahead run by George Quinn, and Marco Bosch had a great game also coming in there, I think that won't be the last that you'll hear of Los Gatos Negros defending champs versus the Tribe. It seems to have sparked a little bit of a rivalry. Should be interesting to see how the 2 teams go as the season progresses. Also, in the Wednesday action, we had the Dope Crystal Squad taking on Slaughterhouse. DCS really didn't have much offense in this game, as it was apparent that Anthony Gross had a no-hit perfect game through the first 4 innings. It's never been done in Fitbro history. We've had a couple one-hitters. I know Matthew Stroman actually almost had one, but he was the closest to do it besides Gross. So that was, pretty good game out of Gross. He had a couple strikeouts. He also had a couple RBIs in the game. Mikey Mo had a few also. I believe they both had 3. As they easily defeated DCS 10-0 in a Mercy Rule game. Something new this year that we've added. It takes 24 innings to qualify for the playoffs as a pitcher. If you get a mercy rule, as it is a full game, a pitcher will get 7 innings. Jordan, I'm going to let you out in a second. I'm trying to do something. My dog is driving me nuts. So anyway, yeah, DCS will get credited for a full game. Also, as it is a full game, mercy rule, as Gross will get 7 innings pitched. A couple people asked me about that, just clarifying that. All right, next up in the Thursday division action, we had the Master Batters taking on the Fam. It was an excellent game. Not that much offense, as they're both great defensive teams as they are offensively, and they have good pitching with TJ Slyman and Mike Ostro. I think it was 4-3. Mike Manarino had the go-ahead RBI in the 6th inning. Pretty Boy also had a home run in the game. As this is going to be a good rivalry in the Thursday division, probably 2 of the better teams that I've seen so far. And it should be interesting to see how that plays out. We also have in the Thursday action Rhythm and Bruce taking on the Sellouts. The final score was 12-1. The Sellouts had a lot of offense in the game. A couple crazy calls here and there by that same umpire. But yeah, it was an interesting game. Rhythm and Bruce had a good time. They always do. And this should be another game. I think if they play again, could have a different result as Rhythm and Bruce comes into custom with how they're going to play defense, who's going to hit where. It's the first week, so, you know, we'll see how things go. Because you're probably like, you scumbag, sick. I know you, Fulchers. All right, next up, in week number 2 action, we had Class Outs taking on the Goodfellas. When I made this game, I said to myself, you know, the Goodfellas have been complaining that Saturday hasn't really provided them with a lot of competition. This will be a good game to test where the Class Acts were. And they ended up winning 6-5. Bobby Russo pitched really well. Matt Sorelli had a couple RBIs in the game. The team captain looked pretty solid in this one. And I don't think that's the last that the Goodfellas are going to hear from the Class Acts and vice versa. I think it'll be a good game to see once again. Hopefully they meet again, as that game finished up 6-5. Next up, we have the Sex Panthers taking on Sky's the Limit. Sky's the Limit, as I said, won in the walk-off victory. And they won in this one also, 9-6. They were pretty happy about the win. Sex Panthers had a large lineup. Had a couple questions about that. We answered that. And they fought a 0-2. They're a time and tough-tested team. I think they'll bounce back this week with a little more offense as they figure out, you know, who's going to play where and who's going to bat where. Next up, we have the Rocks taking on Sky's the Limit. And as they played in the doubleheader, something seemed to have slowed down Sky's the Limit. I'm not going to put it out there on YouTube, but they were pretty happy about the Rangers winning. It didn't really matter to them that much that they lost the game. But it was a good game, 11-5, you know. Pretty solid effort by the Rocks, who also would get the victory in their next contest against Sporting Wood. They won 14-0. So, yeah, and the Rocks are 3-0, the first team to do so. And in the last game, Sporting Wood took on the Ciroc boys. The game was suspended due to some action. And I'm just going to remind everyone, because my brother plays on this team, please no fighting. If you fight, I'm going to kick you out of the league. I'm willing to kick out my brother's team. What makes you think that I'm not going to kick your team out? I actually suspended someone that also participated in the fight and have banned 2 other kids from playing for a year. So we're here to have a good time. I don't want anyone to fight. I want them to enjoy themselves. I want them to come to a safe atmosphere. And, yeah, that's pretty much that. I want Fitboro, when people to think of that, to think of, like, having a good time and just chilling. I mean, it's co-ed softball. It's really not that serious. Next up, we had the Wingboards versus Delta Con, another game that saw a lot of crazy things. Comebacks, teams winning, teams losing. And it ended up being that Delta Con would win 11-10, as Carmine had told me to put in his blog in the video, well, my blog, I should say, rather, that they were going to win. He promised it, and they did. Mr. Dell had the winning RBI, runners on second and third and 2 out. It's the stuff little kids dream of, probably. But it was a good game, and I'm glad I got to umpire it. It was interesting to see. Next up, we have those guys taking on the Ball Breakers. The Ball Breakers, once again, provided plenty of offense. And it was a great game all around. I don't have the stats in front of me. I probably should have been more prepared for this, but just going off the top, Ball Breakers look pretty good in their first 2 games. They're 2-0. They should have a tough test this week. What else we got? We got here next the Knuckleheads versus Team Rugged. The Knuckleheads really have my team's number, it seems like, even when they don't have their full squad. Team Rugged really didn't adjust to me not pitching with defensive alignment. The bats were still there. We had plenty of opportunities. but just couldn't get it done. So have a week off to hopefully heal up, get back out there, pitch. But you just gotta tip your cap to the Knuckleheads. They played really well. They hit. John Hood stepped up, pitched really well. Santo hit bombs after bombs, man. Knuckleheads are a solid team. Probably one of the best in their division and one of the most competitive divisions. So it's a good game. So go for them. Next up, we have the Bockers taking on the Chirpers. The Bockers in their first game against the Chirpers. It was an interesting game. Crazy stuff was going on. I'm not really going to get into that. But, Tone hit a home run again. Joe Palumbo pitched an excellent game. A couple of solo home runs here and there. But, yeah, it was a good game overall. Next game we had the Bockers taking on the Goonies. The Goonies won 13-6. Casa was all over the place. He was like a vacuum cleaner out there, getting all those balls hit to the outfield. Don't have the stats in front of me to really know who did what. I'll try to think off the top of my head. Stephen had a couple RBIs, but that's pretty much that. Looking forward to later action in the week. In week number 2, we have Los Gatos Negros taking on the Slaughterhouse. That should be a really good game. See if Los Gatos Negros can bounce back after the loss, and if Slaughterhouse can keep this up, are they for real? Are they going to, be able to take down the champs? Will the champs start off 0-2? Will Slaughterhouse start off 2-0 after they struggled last year? Should be a great game. And next up, we have the Tribe taking on the Swingers. Swingers are always one of the best teams in the league since day one, celebrating their 5th anniversary within the league. And the Tribe is also one of the best teams in the league, as they proved by beating Los Gatos Negros in extra innings last week. Who will prevail? Only time will tell. But it's going to be an interesting division. The Wednesday division, DCS has a bye. So we'll see how that goes. Also in Thursday action, we have the Fam taking on the Sellouts. The Fam lost, still similar to the other teams that I had mentioned earlier. The Fam is one of the best teams in the league. Let's see if they start off 0-2 or they can bounce back to go 1-1. And are the Sellouts for real? They're going to be 2-0. Should be a tough battle for them, for both teams. I really don't know who's going to win. Interested to see how it goes. And next up, we have the Macho Madness making their debut against Rhythm and Brews. The former Warriors taking on Rhythm and Brews. Should be an evenly contested game. Not really sure who's going to win. Should be a good time for both teams. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to be posting the week number 3 schedule. If you need a buy or anything like that, please let me know now. Probably not going to be that many games on the weekend due to Memorial Day weekend. I want everyone to have a happy, safe, and healthy Memorial Day weekend. Let's keep this thing moving. Let's have a good time. Hope you're enjoying the league so far. A couple teams make their debut this week, such as Pineapple Express. Looking forward to seeing that. And, that's pretty much it. With that said, I'm going to look over the stats. We're going to post up who the players of the week are, or players of the day. Team photos will be posted. So check out John Hood's blog. He's going to be posting that. We'll have full stats within the next, couple days. It's been a lot. Breaking my finger hasn't really helped with typing or anything like that. But I've got a lot of help. And, get your rosters finished up. You have 2 more weeks to do that. Any remaining league fees, I'm not going to put you on the schedule unless you pay them. So make sure you get those in. I'm trying to be a dick, but that's the way it is. And I don't mean to ramble, so if you watch this long, I salute you. Peace, guys. I'll see you next week.